Here we are. Yeah. Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading the second canto, 9th chapter, called Answers by Citing of the Lord's Verses, the Cosmic Manifestation. Here is Narada Muni approaching Brahma, his father. Verse number 43. I was just really trying to find something related to guru-disciple relationship that we can go through. The verse goes like this. Tushtam nishamya pitaram lokanam prapitam maham devarshi prapiparchaha bhavanyan manu prichati. Translation and purport. The great sage Narada also inquired in details from his father Brahma, the great-grandfather of all the universe, after seeing him well satisfied. Purport. The process of understanding spiritual or transcendental knowledge from the realized person is not exactly like asking an ordinary question from the schoolmaster. The schoolmaster is in the modern days, are paid agents for giving some information. But the spiritual master is not a paid agent, nor can he impart instructions without being authorized. In the Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, verse number 34, the process of understanding transcendental knowledge is directed as follows. Tadvidi pratipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnanina statva darshina. Arjuna was advised to receive transcendental knowledge from the realized person by surrender, questions, and service. Receiving transcendental knowledge is not like exchanging dollars. Such knowledge has to be received by service to the spiritual master. As Brahmaji received the knowledge directly from the Lord by satisfying him fully, similarly, one has to receive the transcendental knowledge from the spiritual master by satisfying him. The spiritual master's satisfaction is the means of assimilating transcendental knowledge. One cannot understand transcendental knowledge simply by becoming a grammarian. The Vedas declare, Shvetasvatara Upanishad 6.23, Yasya deve para bhaktir yadha deve tatha gurau tasyaite katitahi artaham prakashante mahatmanaham. Only unto one who has unflinching devotion to the Lord and to the spiritual master does transcendental knowledge become automatically revealed. Such a relationship between the disciple and the spiritual master is eternal. One who is now the disciple is the next spiritual master. And one cannot be a bona fide and authorized spiritual master unless one has been strictly obedient to his spiritual master. Brahmaji, as a disciple of the Supreme Lord, received the real knowledge and imparted it to his dear disciple Narada. And similarly, Narada, as a spiritual master, handed over this knowledge to Vyasa, and so on. Therefore, the so-called former spiritual masters and disciples are not facsimiles of Brahma and Narada or Narada and Vyasa. The relationship between Brahma and Narada is reality, while the so-called formality in the relationship between the cheater and cheated. While the so-called formality is the relationship between the cheater and cheated. It is clearly mentioned here within that Narada is not only well-behaved, meek, and obedient, but also self-controlled. One who is not self-controlled, especially its sex life, can become neither a disciple nor a spiritual master. One must have this disciplinary training in the controlling, speaking, anger, the tongue, the mind, the belly, and the genitals. One who has controlled the particular senses mentioned above is called the Goswami. Without becoming a Goswami, one cannot become neither a disciple nor a spiritual master. The so-called spiritual master without sense control is certainly a cheater, and the disciple of such a so-called spiritual master is the cheated. One should not think of Brahmaji as a dead great-grandfather, as he have experienced on this planet. He is the oldest grandfather, and he is still alive, still living, and the Narada is also living. The age of the inhabitants of the Brahmaloka planet is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. The inhabitants of this small planet, Earth, can hardly calculate even the duration of one day of Brahma. What more the verse? Okay, the verse. The purport is mostly here. Om Agyana Timrandasya Ganajana Shalaka Chakshum Maitaminantasma Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Namobishtam Swapitamena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kanambaya Banatika Swadantikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabanu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kandara Dakanta Namostute Tam Takanchana Gaurendira Devindamaneshwari Vrishabha Sotade Prana Mamahari Panchakalpatarubhascha Kripasvinubhya Chapatana Pavana Vaishnava Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashnaya Bhutale Srimate Chandrama Swami Tinamini Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashadate Shatarini Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I chose this verse because it is surely mentioning few important things about guru-disciple relationship and the importance, taking it really more seriously. One of the most important thing and most biggest kind of shift in my life was when I started to question how much do I really know how to listen, how to hear, how to learn, how to behave, how much do I really take spiritual life seriously. Questioning all of these things made me understand that I'm still trying to practice spiritual life with really bad material habits, really bad habits. So in this way, such a way, we're going to question many of things. I would like all of us to question and to reflect really deeply how many of these points that only I just highlighted few points, really do we take seriously, and how much we can go deeper. When I say deeper, it sounds like, we are already deep and we go to deeper, but the reality is that we are shallow. Because if you were not shallow, we would have such an amazing relationship. We would have profound realization. We would make devotees just by glance, Anyway. So one of the first things that here in the purport Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, Arjuna was advised to receive transcendental knowledge from the realized person by surrender, questions, and service. The transcendental knowledge is received by satisfying and serving spiritual master. So, really interesting. So where to start? We say surrender, question, and service. So what should we do first? Should we question? Should we do service? Should we surrender? Do we know how to surrender? Are we surrendered to our parents? Are we surrendered to our authorities? Do we have actually experience of surrender? That's one thing. Did you find anyone worthy of surrender? I hope that we as devotees, we as devotees in our practice, if we come to the state we are actually raising someone, that we come to the point of that we become worthy of being surrendered to. But so the one thing that really kind of captures my mind, understanding, the more I was serving Maharaj, especially really closely, I was seeing this really happening, especially this part. It says such knowledge has to be received by service to the spiritual master. One has to receive the transcendental knowledge from the spiritual master by satisfying him. So being a personal servant is a double-edged sword. Why? Because you can, if you manage to have the right attitude constantly, if you manage to have the right mood, if you manage to kind of control your mind and senses while you're serving him, because it is dense, it is really quick, really intense, and he is really, Maharaj is really subtle. He can feel all of your energies, all of your thoughts. The moment you space out, he knows you're spaced out. And that moment he's kind of hey, what you doing? And you're like, oh, like on your toes already, like awaiting the next order. And really one really magical things happen. At the moment you really start to satisfy spiritual master, this knowledge that we are speaking, that we are reading, that the Srila Prabhupada say, we cannot be a bookworm. We cannot be a bookworm. We cannot be a grammarian. Grammarian, this is the word he was using. That means that we can read Bhagavad Gita on and on and on and on and on, not only because of the mercy that this knowledge which is alive, these texts which are alive, will be revealed to us. So it will not be only words, it will be realizations. It will be, we will see it in practice. We're going to understand it in practice. It will not be, oh, Tadvidit Pratipatana, yes, surrender, question, and service. Yeah, this is the three things. But then, when we try to understand something, we do not try to surrender, question, and service. We do something else. We don't put this in practice because we don't get the deep realization and faith that this is the process. This is the process. So, being a personal servant, what happens? As a double-edged sword, if you can actually serve Maharaj really nicely. You can serve Maharaj really nicely, but he can still be unsatisfied with your service. Because even though you're doing it professionally, you can do service professionally, because let's face it, after like a few months of doing service, what's the serving prasadam, ironing clothes, washing clothes, washing the floor. You're doing the same thing all over again. So, maybe going for a program. So yeah, the same thing. It could be expert in it. You can be an expert. But it doesn't mean that you will satisfy Guru by being expert. How much it is important that we are doing this with devotion. And one thing after the retreat we had, it was a wonderful retreat, so many points. One of the things that Bhuta Bhavana said to us to reflect on what to do, what to add more. And one thing that I was starting to add is to not do any more service out of fear or out of panic. I think that many of us, when they come to this service, they kind of start to panicking. Will I do it perfectly? Even though nobody asks you to do perfectly thing, just to do it, well enough. Even ironing clothes, it's like, oh, is it ironed enough? Should I iron this or that? Or, maybe is this visible? But actually, he's more annoyed with that, trying to be perfect, because you cannot be perfect in the material world. You try to do your service as fast as possible, which means you'll be good enough. Let it be good enough. Doesn't have to be perfect. Every small detail has to be perfect. If you can, perfect. But it's you have to also be cautious of your time, especially close to him. So when we are serving him, what we try to do, and it is really important here, service. Service means to please. This is what is here, because you have here to knowledge is received by service to spiritual master. But what is the next line saying? Receive the transcendental knowledge from satisfying him. Satisfying him. So that's why one of the articles, one of the reflections I have to write it still. And my last reflection was that doesn't matter if you even have a close association and you're serving spiritual master really closely, that doesn't mean that you are necessarily satisfying him. And you can be maybe once a year you see him, or maybe you just do something online, you even don't see him, but you have managed to satisfy him by your service that you got from him. And you don't have to be a personal servant to satisfy him. You don't have to, let's take all of these misconceptions, I'm sure that you don't have it, guys, but at least what I find in my head, it's like I have to be a personal servant, and you have to be, have to be close to Maharaj. You have to speak with Maharaj. He has to give you a personal instruction. That's not true. That's not true whatsoever. If he needs to give you, he will give you, and Krishna will be sure that he'll get it, because Krishna wants us back. So the point is, the biggest message is, it's not the amount of service you are doing for Maharaj, is how much you're able to serve him, how much you're able to satisfy him, because service means actually satisfying. And I really like how Chitti Shakti, I was kind of listening to her Guru disciple. I think she had like these 3 episodes with us, and I'm reflecting on it. I was listening to it. It's so relevant. It just gets more and more relevant. That there are 2 types of disciples. I'm just repeating what she said. 2 types of disciples that spiritual master have close to him. One is the one that are spiritually enlightened already. So the student, the disciples, we as a disciple help our spiritual master to even grow more spiritually. And I can see this especially when I see spiritual master, our Gurudev, coming to London. When I see how much dedication our God family has in London, I mean, Slovenia as well, I'm sure. When I see that level of surrender and really working, a full-time job, taking care of family and household affairs, which is already a second job, and then taking the full-fledged service for Maharaj, it's a third job, like 3 jobs at one day. I said, I'm not sure if I will be ever qualified to be such a such a devotee. I just forgot what I wanted to say about that. But in a sense, to satisfy Guru Maharaj, to satisfy by following his instructions and do it nicely. And the more we are growing, as this is the point, yes, the more we are growing as a God family, as individuals in our spiritual practice, spiritual master also gets the benefit out of it. And this is the one type of disciple which was saying that it is spiritually enlightened. The second one is the one who needs the most support. And it is actually a risky, it is risky, because as personal servant means that he's directly implicated into your mistakes, directly implicated. If you do if you offer something wrongly, if you make offense to the deity, to Haridas Thakur, then actually Guru Maharaj gets the reaction. And if you're not in good consciousness, he will be influenced as well. So I just wanted to support that assimilation, and this is this is the spiritual master satisfaction, means to assimilating transcendental knowledge. So that means that we are able to live the spiritual knowledge. And the second point that's really important here is the more strict, the more obedient, the more surrendered, and the more service, taking his not only Vapu but Vani, the same if not more serious than the Vapu. his instructions even more serious than personal service, then it will be that we will be actually a real qualified disciples. And this is what we have to always question ourselves. Why are we not getting all the full benefit of Krishna consciousness? The question is, are we fully a disciple? Are we fully qualified disciple? Because it doesn't matter if we're going to be or not going to be spiritual masters. It's, let Krishna decides. But we should try to be the most qualified disciples we can be, which means it's always more than we think we can. Okay, Sridevi, I think that she's on the good. We can just look at her. Good example. Strictly obedience of the spiritual master. And now, this one really interesting thing that also I would like to share with you, with you, my dear family, is that instead of well-behaved, meek, and obedient, but also self-controlled. One who is not self-controlled, especially in sex life, cannot be neither a disciple nor a spiritual master. So interesting. And Srila Prabhupada many times in his morning walks said, like, this disciple means discipline. So much so that here it said that we have to be like Goswamis. Not like Goswamis, like living under the tree, sleeping 1 hour and drinking only milk, not like that. But self-controlled. And actually, we cannot call ourselves a disciple if we are not sense-controlled. If we do not control the senses, but senses control us, which means, like, you come at, this is why knowledge is important, because this sattvic knowledge, which I would like to also share with you, God family, this sattvic knowledge really gives us understanding how to do things properly so that our senses be regulated and they are not pushing us to do things wrongly. Because if we, let's say, eat wrong time, wrong place, wrong things, in like time, place, and circumstances, if we do not master how to eat properly, we are going to always have our mind disturbed. And the mind and the tongue will all constantly push us to do things that we shouldn't. And it will be so hard to be disciplined, so hard to be a Goswami. I'm like coming to that position. I'm endeavoring a lot, and it's a whole new discovery of yourself. And you start to endeavor to control your senses, because your desire to control your senses has to be higher than your desire to enjoy them. And then you see how much you're addicted to many things. Is it sweets? Is it eating at evenings? Taking big opulent prasadam evenings, or is it, you cannot control yourself? Just the other day on the Kadashi, I was eating a Kadash chips, like a couch potato in the evening. I was like, this is terrible, and I was still eating it. But then, okay, tomorrow, okay, let's go fasting. Let's go. We can go back. Let's go back to the discipline mood. And this is really important. So I would just reflect on you how this sense enjoyment have directly influenced my service to Gurudev. So they say in Ayurveda there is 7 levels of digestion. You have 7 fires of digestion. And one of those, the first one is actually mental digestion. Digesting information, digestion of information, of knowledge. And the second one is digestion of the food stuff, physical, gross one on the stomach. So if we do not eat properly, if we eat a lot in the evening, if we take like heavy meals in inappropriate times, the fire of intellect we're going to be used to digest the food stuff. That's why we feel like dull after, after a big meal, we feel dull, and we cannot read, we cannot listen, we cannot do anything, we cannot process information. And Srila Prabhupada said in one morning walk, as listening to Srila Prabhupada's walks with Maharaj while serving him, he said that we are going to probably die from overeating, not by undereating. And especially it will be so hard for us to listen actively, to process information, to imbibe the information. Because without proper listening, and this is what Gurudev was saying, Shravanam is the basis. But you cannot have Shravanam if you do not have sense control, because your digestion for information, the fire of digesting information, is going to be used for other things. Okay, so a little scientific here. So how the thing is affected me? My mind is disturbed. That's for sure. So, it's kind of goes all around the place. It's not going to calm down. I cannot focus on the service. And Gurudev, he just needs someone who just peacefully come, do his service, do exactly what he says, listen to every word, and just do what he said. That's it. But we find it not so. And I found it not so easy to do it if, let's say, I come for evening programs. That's why I stopped going for the evening programs. Just because I still don't have a regulation, like self-control to not eat, especially their sweets, especially if I come to South London and there's like 20 types of sweets and I want to try all of it. And it's like, oh my God. It's like, it's better for me to just say that I'm sick tomorrow than come to Sir Maharaj because I'm going to get cursed. So it's and the difference between when I am self-controlled, when I really take it, I really do work out, I really do take proper meals at proper time, or I even take less meals, like less, so it has more time to digest, more time to recover. I work out, do some yoga to get out and walk, just to start the digestion, just to get the toxins out. I sleep well. So all of this helps me to calm the mind and really be present. Really be present so that I not only do things nicely, but also to do it with devotion. This is one thing that after the retreat, I'm constantly reminding myself not to do things in panic, not to do things in fear, but do it with devotion. And Mahatma and Mahima, there are God members that were serving Maharaj so nicely, so much. And Avadhutanita was saying that when he came with Guru Maharaj to a meal, their place, that one thing that really stuck to his mind is the devotion they were doing the service with such a loving devotion. Not so much even the preparations. It can be like a manifestation of devotion, but the way how they were treating Maharaj. And actually, this is what really Maharaj looks like. He can chastise you, he can yell at you, but if you just like lovingly accept it with gratitude, he really kind of he's satisfied by that. He's actually automatically, immediately satisfied. And I can share one thing that if you do some boo-boo, what to do that can, maybe also get some blessings out of that. That's one interesting thing that he was telling me to do one service, and he was really mad at me because I was kind of I needed to put his clothes to drying, but the dry it's a washing machine with the dryer already, and he was sleeping. He was taking rest, so I didn't want to, the cycle was longer than it should be, and it finished just before. Like I was saying that maybe Maharaj is going to wake up anyway, like in a few minutes. I don't want to like make lots of sounds. Let me just wait for him to wake up. And in 10 minutes he did wake up, and he wake up and said like, "Why didn't you put this to dry? What's wrong with you?" And I was trying to do some seva for a computer, and he was like, "Why are you doing this? What's wrong with you? This and that." And I was like, I didn't want to say anything, and I was just yes, go to it, I'm going, and I was okay, taking the things out and everything, and seemingly it was like, you're doing the right thing, and he's like, and you're thinking like, oh, it's like, is it my mistake or is it good? Did I do good? What is a high principle, to wake him up, like to, take the risk to wake him up and put things to try, or just to kind of get, just accept the punishment. But anyway, I was just kind of okay with that, I accepted that. Okay, I just try to do my best to try to use my intelligence to understand what is the best course of action in this regard. But he was not satisfied with me. which is interesting because once I even asked Guru Maharaj, you know, if spiritual master is maybe have a character traits, you know, some kind of a, you know, character traits, and you don't manage to satisfy him, even though maybe it doesn't seem that you did something wrong. Is it possible that even though he's not satisfied, that you still do satisfy Krishna, like in like this moment? And he said that no, if spiritual master is not satisfied, Krishna is not satisfied. Basta, you know, there's no, you know, something between. So okay, and then I did the service and everything, and just before leaving, he said, like, you know, it's not actually raining outside. It was interesting. It didn't rain, but actually all of a sudden it started to rain outside just before I had to leave. And my spiritual master said, you know why it's raining outside? I was like, I don't know, maybe London weather, you know, random London weather. No, it's because you dissatisfied me. That's why you got a punishment. You got rain. You have to go back to Manor. It's half an hour, 45 minutes walk from his apartment, and it's raining. It's raining because it's like a punishment for you. And I was thinking like, and I was like feeling sad, you know. It's like I don't mind being in the rain, you know. Yeah, doesn't for me it's like, yeah, sure, Maharaj, that's satisfy you. I could be like, you know, dancing in the rain. But I was not satisfied because he was not satisfied with me. I was sad. I was like destroyed. But I didn't want to say sorry, you know, and please apologize. I didn't want to apologize because I didn't feel it's substantial. You know, just saying sorry and such, I will do it, I will not do it again. I just wanted to do something more. So I did something different. Just before leaving, you know, show him obeisances, and I just said to Maharaj, thank you very much for your patience and tolerance. Thank you very much for so much guiding me and having so much patience and so much tolerance. I'm sure that I'm pushing your limits, and I apologize for that. And I'm just grateful that you know, for all these things you're doing for me. And he started to laugh. He started to laugh, and he started to smile and laugh, and it's like, you rascal, you fool, you know, anyway, just go. And miraculously, the moment I exited the building, I didn't even like, I just exited the building, and the rain stopped. The rain stopped. It just like, it was like a rain for 5 minutes. Yeah, it's like interesting. And it's like, but I was like, you know, I was like, yeah, sure, like let it rain, doesn't matter, you know. But you know, because I felt like I managed to express my heart, and you know, and this is one thing that spiritual master does do, and I can really see in our Gurudev. He doesn't see you, and he's not angry at your anarthas. He doesn't take you as, you know, he doesn't consider you as the anarthas that you have. You know, oh, you're sloppy. You know, he's not angry at you that you're sloppy. He doesn't consider you sloppy. He considers you a pure soul, actually. And he's not angry because you're still convinced in, you know, listening to your mind and such. So this is one magical thing that you can always do, is just be grateful for what spiritual master is, and spread this. And you can really nicely satisfy Gurudev Maharaj. So all in all, I will stop here, and I hope that stop here just to recap of how much is it important to serve spiritual master. Doesn't mean is it Vapu or Vani. And now I'm just trying with these impressions of what does it mean to serve Maharaj in Vapu. I want to continue now doing the Vani, the same intensity. This is one thing I really got from from Vapu, is the intensity of how much I should serve him, how much I should actually endeavor to satisfy his desires. And now I'm trying to do the same thing, just to intensify my endeavors for him, even though he's not here. And the more I'm kind of like meditating on it, I really feel his presence. So this is how we get the transcendental knowledge revealed so easily, satisfying, serving spiritual master just by following his instructions, listening to him. And how much is it important that we really step up and we be we be controlling our senses and being Goswamis. It's not, Goswamis are not only for spiritual masters. We have to control our senses right now. And then the magic, and then actually, because if you do not control the senses, then we are still on the animalistic way of living. Anyway. Yes, so that's Hari Om Tat Sat. So yeah, anyway, Haribo.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you so much for your class. You mentioned so many wonderful points. Thank you for sharing your experiences with Guru Maharaj. Thank you. So dear devotees, if there are any reflections or if you want to share anything or want to ask any questions, please go ahead. If possible, you all please turn on your videos.
I'm sure you devotees all had a similar experience. Or is anything that you really liked a lot? Raj Prabhu, go for it.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to all of you devotees. Thank you for that nice class and forcing us to think more about serving Guru Maharaj in the correct manner and in the correct mood. You talked a lot about controlling our senses. My understanding, maybe you can talk about this a bit more, but my understanding was that actually we're not capable of controlling our senses. We can endeavor to control our senses, and that will go to some degree of control, or some degree, but not actually control. The only way that we can control our senses is by serving Guru Maharaj and attracting his mercy, because it's his mercy that will enable us to conquer our senses.
Wow, really nice point, really nice point. I also like to hear what Sri Devi thinks about this, because in the sense, I have to endeavor from my side, as you said, to control my senses as much as possible. One thing that Maharaj, I really like, Maharaj is really mystical. Why? Because like you're doing some service, he just looks at you and just gives like Siddhanta for you, like smack. And they're like, just you're doing some washing or anything, and he just looks at you. You're trying to control your mind, but actually you have to put Krishna in your mind. This is how you control your mind. So that just what you're doing wrong. It's like easier in your head. Yeah? He knows what's happening there, mystically. And it was really interesting because in the sense, I have to do my part. It's not that, it's like, Krishna, I'm surrendering to my senses, indulging and everything. Oh, Krishna, I'm not able to control my senses because you're not controlling them. But it is like, endeavoring for sure, doing everything what you can, and again, surrendering to kind of a, praying in the mood of trying to get empowered. So I don't know, Sri Devi, do you have any comments? Maybe I would like to also hear your comments.
Please accept my most humble obeisances, dear Vrishabha Prabhu. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to our wonderful Guru Maharaj, and my humble obeisances to all the devotees. First and foremost, I just have to say, Vrishabha Prabhu, how brave you are to day after day after day serve Guru Maharaj like that and get so much chastisement, because this is one service that is really very scary for me. I've done everything else that I can do from far, But real service to Guru Maharaj, I'm still so scared to do it. You know, this I know is the real test. I know this is the real test. That's why I'm staying back, waiting for courage to do it.
No, come on, Sridevi.
No, I'm serious because even when I was in Slovenia, it was Soumya Datri who was personally taking care of Guru Maharaj. I was just doing cooking a little bit and that was it. I didn't dare to do any personal service to him because the one time I went with Bhakta Vatsal Nitai, he just blasted us right, left, center. He just blasted, boom, boom, boom. We were just getting the bullets, you know, boom, boom, boom. It was just coming straight. And I was like, whoa, this is like, and then finally, you know, and then finally in the end, I said, thank you, Guru Maharaj, for the training. So he said, what training? I just yelled at you. I said, thank you for yelling. We learned something today because even that much brains we didn't have to do certain things. So I really am just amazed that day after day after day after day to do that. It's very intense. It's very challenging. It's very demoralizing because Guru Maharaj just blasts you. So you have to have so much courage and the willingness to take the chastisement, knowing that this will make you better, because it does. But we don't have so much courage to face that day after day. It is the most taxing service, is the most difficult, most challenging, and most, I mean, your false ego is just like pulverized to shreds, you know. You have no self-esteem left at the end of the day because Guru Maharaj is just hammering at you all the time. So I just have to offer my obeisances and say, thank you, Prabhu. Please give me a particle of that courage that someday I will be courageous enough to do personal service like that for Guru Maharaj. Secondly, controlling the senses, it's a very huge endeavor because we are so used to giving in to our senses. You know, it's a daily, not daily, minute by minute battle because the mind is always dragging us to try and enjoy the material energy, control the material energy, own the material energy, you know, to be in the position of enjoyer, proprietor, controller. So it's an ongoing battle all the time. And what you said just now, you know, put Krishna in your mind. That is the only way to conquer over the senses. Because when we make a separate endeavor, I'm going to conquer my senses, I'm going to conquer. Next thing you know, you're given in and eaten that chocolate cake.
Chips, you know, it's like, you're like, and then seconds of fear coming like, oh my God, what happened to you? I don't know.
Yeah. So I think what you said was absolutely to the point. Thank you for bringing that out for us.
And one thing that I really should say, thank you very much. I really like it to have a discussion because it kind of triggers a few things in mind. I hear sometimes, I don't know about you guys, I feel like I'm a small child that needs some input, something to be nourished by, you know. And because we are not, because, you know, we are trying to get nourished by, you know, listening to something nice or touching something, or, you know, having something nice in our, you know, tongue or something. So we are trying to get the sensation from material things. But when somehow or another we manage to satisfy Guru and we get the mercy to have actually the Krishna come in your consciousness. So this is the thing, we can do chanting, we can do service and everything, but will Krishna come to your consciousness? And when you manage to have him in your mind, it's so nourishing that you just forget all these other options. It's just nourishing. It's so like, nicely pleasing, nourishing, that, you know, it's like first time in a few days, you know, after, I guess, like, you know, when you have, like, Sridevi, I totally agree with you. After 1 month of, you know, battle with your mind, with Gurudev, and he's like him and you are against your mind. And then, you know, the moment he left, he's going for Ljubljana, and he's like, he changes the CD. You know, he changes the CD from, you know, having strict to me. He started to be, okay, I'm leaving now. So who's going to train you? You know, it's like, how are we going to endeavor? How are we going to, you know, manage to do this now after I leave? And just he started this loving exchange. And I just felt like he was somewhat satisfied with whatever, you know, imperfect we managed to offer him. And And you just see that, you know, Krishna is just allowing himself to you. You know, the thing when you know, next after that, you start to read something, it's like full-on blown knowledge, you know, pouring on you. You start to watch cartoons of Krishna, it's like, you know, you're absorbed, starting to, you know, you're like crying, you know, because like, oh my God, it's Krishna, you know. And the one thing that I'm just trying not to do now is to do mistakes of going back to old habits. This is one thing that I'm trying now. Raj Prabhu, did you try to, did you even answer your question?
I think you collectively did answer, yes. Because
What did you understand it?
you said that the bits that I picked up specifically, you said that we do some service for Guru Maharaj, and if we get that manage to do that and please him, then he will give us mercy by putting that Krishna in our head, but making us think in our heart, our head and our heart. And then when it comes to the next piece of agitation, then when we have that Krishna in our heart, yeah, as you said, then we're not interested in that sense gratification.
It's not an option.
Yes.
It's just it. You have it already, something, and that's it. You don't need anything else. It's just bothering, you know.
But we do need to serve Guru Maharaj. We need to please Guru Maharaj, enable for that to happen more and more and more.
And so, well, let's say in my case, I have a wild mind. Maharaj will say to you, I have such a strong wild mind. That's why he said do dramas, because then you can, like, you know, you can manifest this crazy mind into something useful. So if I do not control my senses physically, try to do my part, my mind will be even more crazier. So what I do, I try to, you know, not eat sweets. I have to renounce. I have to do tapasya from my side as much as possible, as what I can do, so that the mind comes down, so that I can focus on the service, so I can please him even more, so that I can get the mercy to not get into the trap of my mind. So it's like, you know, we are taking everything what we need to do to control our senses.
Yes, thank you, Vrishabha Prabhu.
Jai Raj Prabhu. I think you're pleasing Maharaj just by your smile, you know that.
Maharaj, yeah. I find I find great pleasure in, you know, last weekend he said study the Shikshastakam prayers. I spent the whole week going through books and hearing classes, and every time I like read a paragraph and go, whoa, that's another piece of the jigsaw puzzle that's gone whoop. And then I feel like elated. And then I like jump out of bed and I go, I want to study more. I want to study more. I want to make him happy. And
Raj Prabhu, I would like to have such a simple faith you have in Guru Maharaj's words. It is so wonderful. Thank you, Raj.
Hare Krishna.
Dear family, any more comments? I'm sure you're full of nectar as well and realizations, please. Yeah, please, Anuradha. Sorry, I think I'm taking the lead here, Rinda, sorry.
No.
Let's accept my humble obeisances, glories to Srila Prabhupada, glories to Guru Maharaj. I remember the Vaisheshika Prabhu. He's always saying, "I live to be corrected," and I like that statement. I always remind myself when I am chastised sometimes by Maharaj that I live to be corrected. I remember that statement from Vaisheshika Prabhu, and also because if we are not corrected, it's like, you know, when you say control of the senses, reminds me of that picture of the horses and the chariot and charioteer, and like the mind and intelligence, how to utilize it in service. Because I see, like, I will just mention I see when I do some, I would say, offenses or some, I'm not even aware of it that I'm doing. I see that I need to pray. I need to chant loudly and pray. Like also to think about what Guru Maharaj wants from me to change the attitude of service I have now. Because when I do some offense, I have experience. I would say the credits, which I spiritual credit deteriorates. How to say? I don't feel like that I do something to please Krishna or Guru or devotees, because they said that if you serve devotee, you can please Krishna, right? So I was thinking in that way that I really need to be sincere and serious in the service, like open. How to say? With Krishna, you need to be just open, and with Guru Maharaj, if you do mistake, you need to say, Guru Maharaj, I did mistake, but I will continue being better. So that's the motivation you need to continue. You fell on the floor, but you have this. Krishna will never giving up on you. You just need to continue. Like, this is my realization in the service of Maharaj.
Yeah, I would like to add on this, because what are we afraid of actually? If like Sri Devi, let's say, so chastisement, like Maharaj said, like, okay, the correction and praises are the mercy of Gurudev, but neglecting, this is the punishment. Neglecting you is the punishment. I was just thinking, once he said to me, it's like I was driving him, and she said, I think at some point he came to a point, he said, I don't think there is any point of correcting you. And I was just reflecting, oh my God, no, if you do not correct me, then what chance I have? How will I know that I'm doing something wrong? Because we're speaking about the most subtle spiritual practices, something that is, moving from our deepest anarthas. They're so active, they're so deep, they're so overwhelming us that we do not see them. Even though it's obvious for others, but we have to realize that. We have to let them go. So if he doesn't correct us, we have no chance. We just have no chance. Especially because his correction has blessings in it. So actually, my question for Sri Devi, what is actually we are afraid of in chastisement, or in what are we really actually afraid of? Sri Devi, what would you say?
I'm sorry. I was on mute. Sorry. I mean, I can only speak for myself. We are afraid that our self-concept, our ego, false ego, and our idea of who we are, I'm such a great person, I'm so clever, I'm so smart, all that will be smashed, because the Guru sees, your mentality, your conditioned mentality, and he will give you smack where you need it the most. And we are very sensitive about those things, We all have one sensitive point on which we feel very much, like say I'm short, okay? Or something, I'm just giving an example. And if somebody keeps poking at you, you're short, you feel even worse. So the Guru knows exactly what medicine you need. And so he will just give that to you. And that is like, oh my God, so devastating, you feel. But then when you recover and you understand that, oh, I really needed that, now I can get past that, you actually understand that the best medicine you got. But while you're getting it, it's very hard to take it. I remember at one point, Guru Maharaj telling me, oh, you want such a lot of attention. And I was mortified, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm behaving like a spoiled child. That means, and I really need to learn how to behave myself. But that was the best chastisement I could receive, because I immediately realized how badly I was behaving and how much others have to tolerate me because of that bad behavior. And I was very thankful that Guru Maharaj, he just put the salt, right there, where it's like most stinging. And that was very heavy for me. But that saved me so much of offensive behavior towards other Vaishnavas. So Guru's chastisement is actually to save you.
One thing that I would add to, what you're saying, Sridevi. What I found in my case mostly, because we don't live in the Vedic culture, in like full Vedic culture, where they know all these subtleties of raising children. What actually, why do we fear chastisement? Is because, at least in most of the cases I was doing healing with devotees and with myself, is because we think that we are not, because we think that if we are chastised, that we are doing something wrong, that we are not worthy of love and attention. That we are not worthy of love, and we actually are afraid that he will reject us, that we will not be loved, that we will not get the mercy, we will not have any chance of their spiritual progress because he's unsatisfied. But spiritual master, it's not like, we that, start to have a grudge against someone for years and years on, it's like, you don't remember 5 years ago you did this to me, I still remember. Spiritual master is not like that. Whatever he sees that he needs to be changed, the moment we change it, he's like, okay, perfect, let's go next level, next thing, because he's not attached. He's not attached to these things. He's not actually angry. It's like once he literally called me and I was in the manor. He called me and, he tried to speak with me and everything. And I was kind of, really hyperactive. And he starts to yell at me, "You rascal, what are you doing? Your mind is crazy. You are eating too much sweets. I see what you're doing. That's why I called you to come here. Why are you not listening to me?" Was that okay? Yeah, Guru Maharaj, that was really good. So it's a second moment after that, he was like, "Is that okay? Is that okay? This yelling at you?" Yeah, sure. It was, you just see that he's using yelling as a tool. He's not angry whatsoever. He's detached. But he's like, "I'm yelling at you just because you're listening to your mind. I had to penetrate somehow to you." And it really showed me that, yelling for him is like just a tool, that he's angry or something. So we are afraid that, we will not that we are not loved. But when we take the flipped board, we say that his chastisement is the expression of his love. And actually, this is how he shows us love, because the mind still has impressions from the previous experiences, from school, from teachers, from parents, the experiences that when we are chastised, you were a bad girl, you should go to the corner, and I'm not going to, I'm not going to show you love. So we feel like we are actually bad. But when we overcome that and we say that, no, spiritual master is something totally different, especially Guru Maharaj, I saw his full potency, how he's so transcendental. He's just so transcendental. It's just so weird to have such a person, because all the impressions don't match with what he's doing. Doesn't match. So yeah, just to reflect on, if you ever scared of doing anything with Maharaj, it is probably because of the impressions of previous experience, and that we think that this is our way of thinking that he is a regular person. This is the way where we fail to show to ourselves in action that he is above material, concept, that he's not an ordinary person. And because we are reacting on our previous impressions while we are serving him or while we are interacting with him, we are interacting with him like he's an ordinary person. But it's really hard to do this. I mean, it's not so hard, but you have to be conscious of what you're doing. I don't really have any sense. I hope so. Anyway. Yeah. So that we can quickly, just not to take so much of your time, we can continue speaking. We have to speak more and more about Gurudev and to really increase our faith and increase our determination to serve him is more important. Sudha, please, how can I serve you?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for this wonderful class. I mean, so much I need to learn in this. So, Prabhuji, I have two questions. Like you said, most of the time we have that panic and fear, when we want to serve Guru Maharaj, we have that tendency, we might do some mistakes. So we always try to take a back step. So how to actually get over that? I know you have answered most of the things, but it's more applied personally to me.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
The devotion, how to go to that level, like, instead of having that fear always, like.
Thank you very much. Oh, excellent question. So on the subtle levels, fear comes from the subtle level. Who is attached to fear? Where does this, from which subtle platform does the fear comes from? Sudha?
Maybe fear of rejection, like,
Okay. But which element is emanating fear for us? Subtle element.
Maybe,
we have 3 elements.
Sorry, Prabhu, I couldn't say.
The mind.
Mind. Okay.
Mind. This is the mind that is fearful. It's not, we are not fearful of Maharaj. Soul is like ecstatic, the spiritual master, finally, but the mind is fearful. So how do you tackle the mind? So fear of the mind. One thing is like how spiritual master really expertly does with my mind is that he just pushes me quickly do something. Because if you have a short time to decide, mind doesn't get neglected because mind has to have time to contemplate and to speculate. But if he doesn't have any time, what has happened? Intelligence kicks in. Then you're like, the mind's like, what? You're like, I don't know what to do. Intelligence, go and do this, do your stuff, And then the intelligence go and just start doing things. So if you're fearful of doing things, just faster. Just faster. Just go for it without thinking. Don't let your mind to increase this fear. You're fearful. Look, let's go. Just do this. Maharaj does constantly to me. Just like go. Come on. Push this slow. Go. Why are you so slow? Why are you so stupid? Why are you so slow? And then as you see, actually, you become really sharper. You become sharper because intelligence starts to kick in. This is the one thing. The second thing, how you can do is to heal the mind, because the mind is usually called also a small child. Our inner child is to speak to your mind. Speak to your mind. Why are you fearful? Like it's like literally, because when you start to speak with your mind, you're actually speaking with your mind with intelligence. It's like, okay, mind, why are you fearful? Why are you fearful? Oh, I'm going to, I feel pain. Why do you feel pain? Because I will be hurt. Why are we going to be hurt? Because I was hurt before. Okay, so we were hurt. So can we forgive? Maybe we can forgive. Okay, let's forgive. Inhale, exhale. Okay, forgive. Do you feel fear? Maybe pain a little. Okay, let's go. You're just actually speaking to your mind. So like literally don't see it as a mind's feature. And you will see. And spiritual master, and like especially fear of not doing perfectly, it's like the quota is to do it good enough. Do it nicely, good enough. That's it. Perfect, forget it. Just forget to do anything perfect, just forget it. It's waste of time. It's over-endeavoring. Doing things perfect is over-endeavoring. When you do it good enough, you sharpen your intelligence. And then because you start to do it, intelligence is the expert one, not the mind. The mind contemplates, it goes to do something new. But intelligence is the one who can do things over and over and over again and be sharper, and be more expert. This intelligence. Actually, it's not mind. So when you're doing it more and quicker, you will actually become expert. And then you will be able to actually do things in the really short amount of time, really expertly, which means perfectly, like almost perfectly. But it comes with training. Don't think like the mind is trying to, I have to do it perfectly first time. Like look, if the first time I'm doing chapatis, Maharaj said, give me a chapati, and it's like this second time I'm doing the chapatis. If I try to make it perfectly, I will spend a whole day and they will be far from perfect. And Maharaj will be like, what, were you wasting your whole day just to make a chapati? Isn't it? So I hope.
Yes, yes, thank you so much. I'll definitely practice these tips. I think one of the thing, maybe I always endeavor for perfection. Probably that is also like, one of the things that I need to correct. So
that's ignorance. That's ignorance, actually. Actually, it evokes more of ignorance. It sounds ridiculous, but it is.
Yes. So thank you, Prabhu.
You feel lethargic, after that you feel lethargic, it's like, it's just slower and slower, and you still try to do it, and it's like, anyway, yes. Thank you. The second, you had the second one?
Second one, speak to the mind, you said, like. Yeah, so I have one more question. It's okay, I can ask.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, this is like, so Prabhuji, you mentioned like it's not about the service, but how much you can satisfy him. So being like at a very neophyte level, and also like we are very far off. So we are trying to follow instructions, but how do we know we are actually satisfying Guru? I mean, is Guru pleased or like that? You know, so.
And one thing that I really kind of comes to me when you're speaking this, our service to him is the way how we are developing relationship and trust in one another. So if he gives you something to be done, you should ask always how fast you want it to be done. If he didn't mention, or like, or you can say, oh, I can do this maybe in 5 days. You try to be realistic. Okay, I can do this in 5 days. Would that be okay, Maharaj? Oh, you want the fast? Okay, you know. So you try to be trustworthy. This is what actually satisfies Maharaj. Trustworthy devotees, trustworthy disciples. Something that he can be like, you know, not like me. He tries to call me and it's like, you know, I space out and I don't call him for 2 days, you know, and he's like, you know, Vrishabha, I cannot get to you. When I need you, I cannot get to you. Actually, I had to call him. Anyway, but actually being, you know, if he says like, can you come at 11 o'clock? You'll be there at 11 o'clock. If he said, can you do this for me? You do that. You do on time, you do it, you know, you just be trustworthy, that he feels like I can trust you. And this really increases the faith and increases the amount of responsibilities he would like to give to you. And the more and more you're satisfying him. And, you know, and the more he's getting to know you as well. So, and then he can guide you personally, you know.
Yes, yes, yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. I really like that point. Trustworthy, right? I need to develop.
Trustworthy. It's like really literally like you're developing a relationship with each other as well, you know. We should practice this. The one thing that I really noticed that the way I was treating Maharaj, I have a need to treat every devotee like that. Just because the amount of such a loving relationship you build in this regard, in this way, that I just want to have this loving relationship with all the devotees, not only with Maharaj. And that's why I kind of think of treating other devotees like they are my spiritual master, you know, on that level if I can. And this is what actually some of the Shastra says, right? I think I heard it before so many times. Treat everyone as your spiritual master, because you want actually this relationship, this loving relationship in that level.
Yes, yes, yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. I
Thank
know
you.
me, but I'm learning from you all so much. Yeah, especially this retreat has really helped me. I mean, I'm so happy, and I need to learn so much from you all. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Bye. Thank you. Renuka, okay, maybe one more question. I think it's really cool when we are speaking about Maharaj when he's not here. Then we can go open up all these you know, things that we will not say, Maharaj, I'm fearful of you, isn't it? So I think it's a good way to use this opportunity. And Renuka, how can I serve you? I don't do lips. I don't read lips, but if you unmute yourself, it will be easier for me. Haribo.
Haribo. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Your class has been perfect. I mean, I think I'm very new to the God family. Please pardon my etiquettes. I'm so sorry. I am from India. I stay in Gurugram. So I've been fortunate to serve Maharaj once. I'm a grasta, so we have a little difficult sort of a experience. For example, yes, you were very right about talking about fear and panicking, and it was my first time, and I just wanted to do everything right, and I did have the I did have the piece of paper mentioning what all is allowed for cooking, but that's all I had. And I mean, I did, fortunately, in India, we always keep having lots and lots of elderly guests, and we are, all the family members keep coming. So we've hosted many people, but Maharaj, I had no clue what to do, because, and I'm not much of a devotee. I'm not really good with it. But considering that he chose to come and stay, I was over the moon, and I had more gratitude than anything else, and I didn't know what to do. I tried my best. My husband is not much of he is a very good man, but he's not much of a devotee. And then you have a culture in ISKCON wherein you're to be accompanied with the man to serve him and everything. So I was really, really very afraid of, serving a brahmachari. And yes, I did get chastised, and I did feel worthless, as Sridevi Mataji said, and the way you were mentioning. But yes, but what happened with me was, I was being probably a little harsh on my husband because I was, just telling him to get up in the morning and, be there, I'll do everything, but just you be there. And then it just so happened the last day when he was leaving, we didn't have a papaya. And I was supposed to go and get it from the market. And I didn't know. I just gave him other fruits, and then you've been serving him so much, I've learned. So I don't know what to do, because he just said, you should have just told me. And he just, at the, I didn't know what to do, because I was thinking, I made my husband get up and go and get a papaya right in the morning. And that really didn't go very well with him. And because he was probably, he just asked me, why didn't you tell me what all you have? I would have had something else. You don't have to do all this to me. You have to just talk to me, and this is no way, you have to tell me what
You know what that is. You
you
know
have
what
in your
that
kitchen.
is.
I'm not going to know just like that. And I was just thinking that he asked for papaya, and it is just there, like 500 meters away from my house. So I was of the view that I can just get it fresh in the morning. You get very nice papayas in the morning, and that'll be best to be served. So I had my good intentions, but then it really didn't go very well, because he saw that I woke my husband up specially to get a papaya. And in my head, me and my husband were a team. We were serving him as a team. So, but I didn't know where did I go wrong. But then, yes, obviously, I didn't say a thing. And then, when he was leaving, he just said that you follow whatever you want to do, and then you expect me to surrender. And I didn't know. I was almost teary-eyed, but then, I just didn't say a thing, and I kept packing his lunch and everything. All went well. And then at airport, he was really kind enough to say that, okay, you did well, and, don't forget, I'm just trying to tell you to not go overboard with everything. Just let me know, it's not thing. So in my experience, I didn't know what to do. And in my experience, I think, yes, you were right. The mind plays the trick. The intelligence keeps it sane. But sometimes, even with your best of intentions, using your intelligence, using your knowledge how to serve him better, with a heart full of devotion, sometimes things may not go well. They may not. They just will not, because, he can read our mind, but, we can't know. He will not be satisfied. So how do you think, I'm looking forward to him coming again, so much so that, I feel I failed last time, and I want to do better. Please instruct me.
Renuka, you are so brave, and it's really inspiring story. Thank you very much for. I'm actually having these episodes every day, and
My God.
I know, but I know what the trick is. But there is a trick in all of that. Maharaj was not wrong, because he is teaching us one really valuable lesson. He's constantly speaking to us. In the material world, we have to understand, in the material world, we are left to speculate what we need to do. Because if I give you the knowledge of something, then my knowledge is shared with someone. Now you're competition to me. So usually you do not get knowledge from others, and we are used to speculate what is the best. Where Guru Maharaj, also with me, same things. Really regularly he was doing the same thing to me. But it's become nourishing because he was actually teaching me not to speculate anymore. Because what happened? This moment you woke up, you had some fruits, but you didn't have papaya. So your thinking was, let me get him papaya, but that was speculation. Why speculation? Well, I want to give the best to him, right? Well, because because we do not have enough Vaishnava etiquette, enough realizations, enough experience of how to practice the spiritual principles, where you would actually probably because Maharaj was unpleasant that he was, he saw that your husband was an elderly person, I guess, as well. He was going to get him a papaya only because of the papaya. And he was saying, this is over and ever. Because I could just have taken everything. It's not that I'm only a papaya guy. I think also other things. So, making a person go for papaya just because I'm here, that was not pleasing to him, because he felt bad. He's actually really humble. Maharaj is really humble, and he doesn't consider himself a spiritual master, even though, so many times when I ask him, like, oh, tell me, like, how long are you spiritual master? And he said, like, he just answered me, the one who thinks that his spiritual master is a cow, actually. This is how he answered to me. He doesn't consider himself spiritual master. He considers himself as a devotee, and he came to serve you. So, he came to serve you and to be in your apartment so you get the blessings, and to accept something that he can take, but he didn't want it, it was over and ever to go for the papaya. So what to do next time? You ask him. When he said, I'm surrendering to your plans, it means that you made a plan for him and you served him already, everything done. He couldn't choose anymore because already your husband went out. You already get the papaya, so you already served it. He was on the spot. He was just, he was like, on the finished job there. So, and one thing that he's teaching me a lot that really works perfectly, really simplifies your life so much, and he's satisfying so much. So it's like simple and perfect. Ask him, Maharaj, we don't have a papaya. We have some other fruits. Would you like me to get papaya for you, or should I offer something else for you? It's like, I don't know. Maybe I could take papaya because of my digestion.
It's exactly his
yesterday.
expression. It's exactly his expression.
Maybe I can maybe stick some, I don't know, but is it far away? Oh, it's 500 meters. But still, no, it's better not, because I don't want to bother you. And just give me whatever you have. So this is what will satisfy him, because many times he was saying that, it's like all of these cooks, they're serving me so opulent prasadam, and just want something simple.
Yes.
He wants something simple.
Yes.
So because this is difference between the mind and intelligence. Again, intelligence asks and intelligence learns, and believe me, you will make plenty of mistakes, because this is one thing that, being a personal servant, you have to just accept, and you don't feel bad about it anymore.
Yes.
That you are really stupid. And so many times Maharaj said, you're stupid.
Yeah.
You're really stupid. You have no intelligence.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I felt like my ego was like, really no intelligence. But what does intelligence mean? Intelligence means that you have right information put in the right context. It's nothing that you don't have a logic or way of processing, or that you cannot figure out. He actually many times said that you are really intelligent. But real intelligence, the practical intelligence, means that you have knowledge and you know how to perfectly apply it in time, place, and circumstances. So when he has said that you're stupid, that means that in that moment you didn't have the right information. You don't have the right information, which okay, maybe I will learn it. So I will learn it, so no problem. And you don't know how to apply it rightly. But it doesn't mean that you're actually less valuable or that you're not lovable. You know, in the Western, in material world, you know, if you're stupid, that means that you're worthless. You should, you're worthless. You're a waste of time, and nobody should give you a ton of love and attention. But in this regard, it's not like that. So that's why he was teaching me so much. So, and it made when I started to figure out this, it really made it really easy. You're not sure, ask him. Ask him. If you need to make a decision, and then you just apologize, say, it was not every time I needed to make a decision. I did this because of this and this. I hope it was okay. And then he can say like, okay, next time, please do this and this and this. And then he's teaching you. Because like, personal servant, Yannick and I was serving him for 8 years, and I'm just serving him for like 3 months altogether in the last 1 year, personal service. So I'm just really start to get this, what they say that, first, somebody, Maharaj, spiritual master says to disciple and he doesn't do it. The second level is he tells you, you do it. And the third level, he doesn't tell you, you know. So this is the first level, is this what we are doing, me and you. He says something, but we have our own mental conceptions what it would be. We serve him breakfast. We said, oh, wow, I'm serving him breakfast. No, but are we actually serving him what he wants? Because he's showing us how to be personal. Because with Krishna, we will have to be the same thing. We're not gonna kind of put Krishna in the. We're not gonna put Krishna in like oh, I just made this for you, and it's like, yeah, but maybe it doesn't satisfy me. But he's really showing us how to be personal, fully personal. And if you just surrender to that, you'll start to experience a whole new world of relationships and how to treat people. Okay.
True. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for the insight.
Please,
it really helped me. Thank you.
That's why
I've been carrying it in my heart. I really wanted to share, and I had no platform. I have talked to some couple of devotees that they're not. I mean, like talking to somebody who's serving Maharaj. I mean, like I felt as if I'm just there talking to somebody who can understand. But he's so merciful. He is really merciful. He doesn't take it to heart, and then he smiles like a child, and it's so beautiful. Back there, he wins your heart back.
If he comes back to your apartment, it means he's satisfied, and he, so this is it, this is, I also think like, many times I think like, oh my God, he would kind of reject me after these services and everything, but he again allows me to serve him. So, it's like, he just wants to see the progress.
That's my fear, Prabhu. That's my fear, Prabhu. I'm just looking forward. If he comes back in Kartik, I'll thank Krishna that, he has probably forgiven me. I am just really seeking forgiveness with him.
He's not angry whatsoever. He's not angry. He's, he's just helping us to go forward, and we have to help each other to understand it in the productive way. Because he is not an ordinary person. He's a pure devotee. He actually doesn't have any grudge, anything. All of these impressions, we have to separate our impressions from what actually is happening. And then we're going to really, faith and everything will increase, and we will get the benefit of it.
Great. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thanks a lot.
Hi. Thank you for this. It's closing this with us.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We can maybe continue next time. I hope so, to churn this nectar of immortality, that we all are getting.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for answering to all the questions, sharing all your experiences, reflections. Thank you so much, all the devotees, for sharing your reflections and all those questions. It is wonderful to hear from all of you about Maharaj, and I just felt that we are so fortunate to have his association, personal association every day, and where he's always there for us. I just feel fortunate, and fortunate to be in your association also. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, once again for your time and association and for today's class. I would like to pay my obeisances to you and to all the devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Guru Maharaj ki jai. His Grace Vrishabha Das Prabhu ji ki jai. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Shridevi-
Prabhu.
Shridevi ki jai.
Thank you very much.
Hare
Thank you,
Bol.
Vrishabha Prabhu.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so
It was
much
very
for such an
interesting.
enlightening discussion. Sorry, Tirtha-Kirti, please go ahead.
Kirtika? Kirti, please. Right.
Sorry. Thank you very much for that very interesting lecture. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. It was a
Hare Bol,
very nice.
Sudha. Understanding the mind of a pure devotee, isn't it?